Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 2023 Nissan Z. Now this is the 7th generation of the Nissan Z series that started way back in the 60s, and this uses the same platform, manual transmission and architecture as the outgoing 370Z, which was done to make this a more affordable sports car, and yeah, it's definitely that. Especially when you consider how much power, speed, acceleration and handling that this car has on the go. And yeah, you can get this with a 9-speed automatic gearbox from Mercedes, but this has the 6-speed manual. Slower in terms of acceleration, but definitely gives you a bit more in the way of feel. And yeah, the bonnet, doors and hatchback are all made from aluminium. It's also got 19-inch forged alloy wheels, double wishbone aluminium suspension, a limited slip differential and dual exhausts. And this is the performance trim, which also has a front splitter, these wheels, and yeah, the rear spoiler there as well. So yeah, on the whole I do like the look of this car. It's a little bit on the simple side at the front. It's, you know, not overly designed or under designed, it's just a little bit in the middle bit, but I do prefer how it looks over the 350 and the 370Z, so better than the two generations before by a long shot, especially when it comes to the rear, which I absolutely adore. It's easily one of the best rear ends on a sports car that I've seen for a long time. Those rear lights, the black insert at the middle, the twin exhausts that are perfectly placed, the little bit of a spoiler, it's all just really well managed on that rear end. And it's got a good side profile, just like the previous two generations. And yeah, it's also like a hatchback like the previous two generations as well. So yeah, but far better in terms of in comparison to the 350Z, in the fact that it doesn't have the massive rear strengthening bar across the middle of the boot space. So yeah, far more you know, practical than the 350. And yeah, on the whole, better looking than the 370 as well. It's got a really nice interior as well. You've got nice trim stitched leather all the way around. You've got a really rather nice dashboard. You've got good dials on there. The left one is the turbo boost. The middle one is a turbo RPM. And then you got the voltmeter on the right there. You've got a really nice screen. I think that's a 9-inch screen that is. And yeah, you've got an LED, you know, speedometer and tachometer, and yeah, 6-speed manual like I said. So yeah, this is going to be the kind of car that is going to really infuse sports enthusiasts, because yeah, lots of people complain about, you know, sports cars nowadays being a bit weedy in a lot of ways. You know, they've usually got a automatic gearbox or a flappy paddle gearbox at most, and this is, yeah, seemingly bringing the fun back to Japanese sports cars. You've got the gold wheels that were a trademark of the likes of Subaru, but then you've got this really rather quite powerful V6 engine. So it's a 3-litre twin turbocharged V6, so half a litre down on the 370Z, but with those twin turbochargers added on, you now have 400 horsepower and 350 pounds-feet of torque, which is, yeah, quite a sizable amount, and a lot more than the Toyota Supra recent generation as well. Although that car seemingly has been underrated in terms of its power, but even at the maximum amount that I've seen some people quoting, it's still 18 horsepower more than that. So yeah, and at the end of the day, this feels like its own special kind of thing, because it's not a collaboration with BMW like the Toyota Supra is. And yes, you do get the Mercedes gearbox as an option, but outside of that, it's pretty much all Nissan. And yeah, really do like the look of it as well, like I said. So yeah, looks great, has a lot of power and torque, it's practical in some respects, and yeah, it's going to be quite a unique car in some respects, because I guarantee people are going to go for the likes of the Toyota Supra or the GR86, whereas this might well be a little bit more of a unique kind of vehicle, and a lot rarer. So yeah, but regardless, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. So yeah, this manual version isn't quite as quick as the 9-speed automatic version, because obviously the 9-speed is going to be a lot quicker at changing gear than you would ever be able to do it yourself, but it's still a quick car in a straight line. So let's see what it can do before we hit the speed camera, and then we'll get it around the track. So yeah, revving up to 7,000 RPM, which is quite good. And although it's got the same kind of cylinders, same amount of cylinders as the Supra, and is also turbocharged, although this has 2 and not just a 1. I feel like this is the better engine overall, even if, you know, it might well not be as technical. It certainly does feel like a, you know, a more basic kind of engine. I'm not sure if it shares the engine with other Nissan cars or anything like that, or older Nissan cars, because, yeah, some of this is, like I said, a transfer over from the 370Z, but 80% of the car is new. It's just that the 20% there that is shared with the 370 purely to keep the costs down. But to be honest, you wouldn't really notice that this is a car that has some older elements to it. And at the end of the day, the 370Z Nismo was a great sports car in its own right. It's only the more base 370Z that was a little bit of a disappointment. So yeah, we're in low-end A class, which is fairly decent. Yeah, these stats are all on the whole pretty good. Speed, handling, and launch and braking are all solid. Acceleration could be a little bit better. It's certainly not as quick as some sports cars to 100, but to 60 it is pretty quick. And like I said, if you really are interested in, you know, pure acceleration, then get the 9-speed automatic gearbox, and you will get launch control combined with that. And it's not the best balanced car though. 56% of the weight is at the front, so yeah, it's quite front biased, but as you'll see once we get it around the track, it's not a car that has a lot of understeer or anything like that. It's certainly a car that feels more balanced than the stats would have you guessing. And yeah, you can also have some more good fun with it as well when you want. So yeah, as per usual, let's listen to the engine first, and then we'll talk about it some more. So yeah, overall it's a fairly good sounding engine. I'm usually not a massive fan of V6s or 6-cylinder engines in general. They usually don't sound the best, especially nowadays when they're relying on turbocharging and the like, but yeah, this sounds overall really rather good, and certainly a lot better than what was in the Supra, which I really wasn't that much of a fan of. And yeah, it's definitely a more entertaining car to drive than the Supra as well. Looks better as far as I'm concerned, and yeah, it just overall feels like more of a driver's car than that Supra does, which at the end of the day does come across like a hardtop version of the Z4 that it shares its platform with. So yeah, this feels like its own special thing, and it's still a pretty good car in a straight line as well, even if it's not as quick as some other sports cars, like the Porsche Cayman and the like. But yeah, still, it can do 0 to 60 in 4.486 seconds, 0 to 100 in 10.583 seconds, and I'm going to a top speed of a reported 191 miles an hour, although I think it has a limiter in real life at 155. So yeah, they're all really rather good stats. Obviously the 0 to 100 time isn't the best by any means, and I think that at the end of the day comes down to the manual gearbox and not the having that quick fire automatic, but still, it's all really rather good. And yeah, like I said, I think this is the car that a lot of sports car enthusiasts will go for, because a lot of people do prefer the manual gearbox over a automatic flappy paddle gearbox. So yeah, and I'm glad Nissan have given them that choice, because yeah, choice at the end of the day is all a good thing. And yeah, handling wise, it's all really rather good as well. It's really nicely balanced, even though it has more weight up the front than the rear. You can have plenty of oversteer fun with it, but as you can be hopefully seen, that it's quite balanced as well when it comes to going around the corners. So yeah, I've really been enjoying driving this car. It's a real treat to drive, real rewarding as well, because like I said, you can have plenty of oversteer fun with it, but it does also feel rewarding to get it going around the corner in a reasonable and quick manner. So yeah, this is the newest car on this game, believe it or not. It's the only car from 2023 that we actually have on this game, as far as I can work out. So yeah, it's the newest car in the game, and you can get it up for a measly 20 points in the current festival season. So it's well worth getting. It's a really fun car, and I hope people are enjoying it as much as I am, because to be honest, didn't have the highest of expectations. Because like I said, I didn't much care for the 350Z. I didn't care much for the base 370Z. It was only when Nismo got their hands on it that 370Z was a much better car, but I still wasn't a massive fan of the way that looked. But this has the looks, it has the speed, it has the acceleration, it has the handling, it has the practicality, it has the kind of fun factor that I'm looking for. So yeah, it pretty much covers all bases, quite frankly. So yeah, highly recommend getting it and taking the time to get it as well, because it is well worth it. So yeah, thanks for watching though, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.